You know what I got. Repeat after me now. Good, better, bad. Good, better, bad. Never let it rest. Never let it rest. Good gets better. Good gets better. And you better get better. You better get better. Bears on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey.
Oh, how does that not get you excited for Vegas? Bears fans are already on their way. I'm expecting a full flight of them Saturday morning as they look to win 2 in a row and their first road win of the season. And I know Lou is jealous that he's not on this plane to Vegas. You are a Vegas guy.
Who is calling the shots at this TV station? How are we not doing Bears Blitz on the road in Vegas so Big A and Lou could join Cassie and at least be chaperones, make sure she's okay.
I need a chaperone.
For Bears game day.
You can definitely count me in. I'm about all the Cirque du Soleil you can handle. Maybe a few late night strolls down the street just to see what might be popping off, and then I can sleep on the flight home.
Yeah, well, guys, I don't know if you know, it's 2 hours earlier there, so I have to be up at about 4:30 in the morning on Sunday. So, that'll be a fun.
You'll pull it off.
Yeah. Hey, welcome into Bears Blitz, brought to you by IGS Energy. Cassie Carlson, Lou Canellis, Anthony Herron. Do you think this crowd is going to be 50-50, or do you expect 70-30 Bears fans?
I expect more Bears fans to be there. I really do, and I get the prices right now on the secondary market for tickets are almost $600 a piece. To get in the joint. All right, could be the last row. $300, but I know how Bears fans travel.
Yeah.
And Bears fans want to be there. You know why, Big A? Because we're coming off a big win over the Cowboys.
A lot of excitement about it. A lot of celebrations going on here. That's why I'm rocking my celebration T-shirt today. Celebrate good times. Come on, because everybody is really excited about what happened in the game last week. Seeing not only just sort of incremental growth and development, but now the real results are there that led to a dub.
Yeah, and you love to see the locker room after that win, and Ben Johnson breaking down that huddle. It got that locker room amped, and Bears fans too. You know, Caleb Williams was in his bag against the Cowboys. He won NFC Offensive Player of the Week after his 4-touchdown, no turnover, no sack performance, but he already had his eyes forward on the Raiders when it was announced.
What does it mean to be named NFC Offensive Player of the Week?
That's it. I tried to recognize him in front of the group, and he wasn't having it. You know, it's very stoic, and he's already on to the next game. He knows he needs to have an even better performance here this week to give us the best chance to win.
I know a lot of football is results-based, and that's not – I think I've spoken to you all about it. That's not really where I'm at. You know, there's going to be times where you feel you play a great game, and you know, you weren't doing the right things at the right time, and you know, you end up losing the game.
I can't say enough really about the approach. I keep going back to it. When you have the approach that's right, we're going to continue to see him get better.
All right, Ben Johnson complimented Caleb Williams right after the game, said he thought he got out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage better, getting the play calls in and out. I mean, this is reaping the benefits of good offensive line play, being good with your feet. That's something that the focus has been for Caleb Williams throughout the week. So when you look at the performance he put on as a whole against the Cowboys, what were the most encouraging things to you, Lou, that you hope he takes forward with the season?
Well, he talked about the consistency with his footwork, but he also talked about getting into a rhythm. And I think the coaching staff, Ben Johnson, Declan Doyle, need to take some credit for that. He talked about getting to the line of scrimmage with so much time that he could really view the landscape defensively that he was facing, and if he needed to make changes, he could make those changes. Listen, the numbers are great. 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. He's second in the NFL right now in total touchdowns, second in the NFL in passing touchdowns, and he is gaining confidence not only with himself, Big A, but with his play caller, with his head coach. And that's what wins does. It suddenly gets players to buy into the coaching staff.
And you get that tangible evidence at the end where you've earned a victory as a unit, and everyone gets to share in some of that credit. And we know how long Caleb Williams has been preparing to have success at this level of the sport. And so coming off of that performance where we got to remember, as much as people look back on his rookie season as though he didn't have success, the Bears as a team weren't winning, but there were individual games where Caleb Williams was putting up numbers. But in the end, he as a quarterback will be judged by whether or not he's leading his team to victories. But each week this season, he's performed better. There are times when I'm on the radio here in Chicago on 670 The Score where I'm not even that interested in talking about Caleb specifically because we're waiting to see that development of this offensive line gelling together. We saw that last week with 0 sacks. What are the other teammates doing? You guys know I've been a proponent of having big expectations for Rome Odunze because he's physically capable of a lot. That first touchdown pass of the game, that was a grown man route by that wide receiver.
Put the arm up?
Put the arm up and everything. But to have the defensive back fall on his feet because of the release off the line of scrimmage like that, arm goes up, Caleb puts a dot right on him. So development of each of those two individual players. Seeing Caleb perform at a higher level is really exciting, but the team around him, that same play, the way that DeAndre Swift steps up and chin checks the blitzing linebacker to give his quarterback that extra beat to put the ball on the money to Rome, all these things coming together, and then in the end, we judge Caleb based off the win or the loss, but a lot of other folks did things at a higher level too.
But that's why this game is so important.
Right.
All right,
String it together.
It's about continued growth, stringing it together. He's 1-8 on the road, and his numbers are not very good away from Soldier Field. He needs to prove that he really is growing and that he just didn't have this game against an awful Dallas defense.
Yeah, and I think you're talking about Rome, who's making his return to Vegas, where he went to high school and grew up. He said he's going to have a ton of tickets that he needs to find for his family and friends to go see him. And you're seeing the growth there. You want to see the growth in the run game specifically. You mentioned continuity with the offensive line, and Ben Johnson said that's going to continue to mesh. They look at that unit as a whole. How demoralizing is it, though, when you get the run game going on a 19-play drive as a defensive player to not be able to stop that? And they ran, 11 times in a row?
11 run plays in a row. And the wide variety of runs was what really struck me. And it's a part of why, when we think about Ben Johnson and what separates him from some other play callers in the sport, yeah, there's a lot of other guys that run the football at a high level, and we know what type of pressure that can take off of your quarterback and how it can allow your offensive line to be the ones taking, an assertive approach at that opposing defensive front. But it wasn't all just a downhill rushing attack. And frankly, the Bears' run game hadn't been that successful up to that point in the game against the Cowboys. You could even see some cutaway shots of Ben Johnson on the sideline looking a bit exasperated about, Darnell Wright getting beat across his face and things like that. But as that drive ensued, it was sort of like he stubbornly willed that offensive line and that ground attack via the QB run, via the outside zone, via gap schemes, via a wide variety of plays that all kept the ball on the ground and led to the Bears imposing their will and really breaking the will of their opponent.
All right, for the 19-play drive, I thought the running game looked good. But for the most part, in the entire game, you look at the rushes per average, they're not very good. They're under 3 yards per carry. Listen, he is, and I'm talking about DeAndre Swift, he's your top back, 13 carries for 33 yards, ain't going to cut it.
Yeah.
But I thought what was interesting that the head coach said at the press conference earlier this week, you attended, Cassie, was he said, I've got new guys up front that are learning to play together. And run blocking amongst those 5 guys on the offensive line is going to take time.
Yeah.
It's going to take 2 games, 3 games, maybe 4 games.
Well, pass blocking obviously is improving too when you don't give up a single sack. I think the concern going into this week, you look at the Raiders defense and it's all Max Crosby, right? Ben Johnson said he believes he's a top 5 player in this league, not talked about enough. And then you add in the fact that Darnell Wright, your right tackle, is not going to be playing in this game. So Theo Benedict, you get to go block one of the best in the game, and that's a huge concern if you're looking at how this game could be played.
Tell me he's going to get help. He
Might
needs
need help.
Because this guy's motor.
McLaughlin's questionable too.
This guy's motor doesn't stop.
No.
All right. I mean, he is one of the top pass rushers in football, has been since he came in the league back in 2019. Just 4 other guys have had more quarterback sacks than Max Crosby. And I'll tell you, he's not Myles Garrett, Big A. He's not Micah Parsons. He's not T.J. Watt, but he's pretty darn good.
Whatever that next tier is beyond the elite of the elite in this sport that just take games over, Max Crosby is right there in that next echelon. And not only statistically, but because of the point you made there, Lou, about the effort he plays the game with. And he plays virtually every snap of the majority of the games that he's in. And so as a defensive lineman, that takes a certain amount of conditioning and fortitude to continue to play at such a high level because it is such a physically demanding position. That's where Max Crosby, Aiden Hutchinson, there are certain guys who can handle playing such a volume of snaps at that position while still maintaining their effort throughout. And because there's not necessarily a wide variety of playmakers on this Raiders defense beyond Max Crosby, he gets the majority of the attention from the opponent and still finds a way to be productive. And a lot of times it's based off sort of that second effort where maybe he's initially blocked and then he continues to fight and scratch. And that's where Theo Benedict getting his first real action, his first start we're anticipating in the NFL. It's one thing you got to be ready for, because even if you feel like you've initially got him stunned, Max Crosby will continue to work.
Only 2 sacks so far this season.
From a defensive perspective, the game is all about limiting points. That's what it's all about. It's not about yards. It's not about any of that stuff. It's not about rushing, passing, whatever the case may be. It's about limiting points. And each and every game plan, how you go about doing that, is going to be different.
Dennis Allen taking a simple approach to the defensive side. The Bears held Dallas to just 14 points. They tried to take away the passing game, and this week they'll be tasked with slowing down Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers, and rookie Ashton Jeanty. He hasn't gotten going really too much so far through the first 3 weeks, but Geno Smith second in passing yards. Their run game ranks 30th. So if you're looking at how you want to stop the Raiders, what do you prioritize first?
I think you need to jump ahead. You have to force them into throwing the football. One of the reasons why Geno Smith is one of the top guys in the league as far as passing yards is because they've been playing from behind their last 2 games. They were trailing Washington. They were trailing the Chargers. I get it. They won their opener against the Patriots. I'm not worried about Geno Smith. Going to be 35 years old, can't move in the pocket. We've been talking about it.
That's an indictment on 35-year-olds right there.
This is from a 61-year-old. I couldn't move in the pocket either. But I'm not really worried about Geno Smith. And if you jump ahead, you force them into being one-dimensional, and their running game has not been very good. Big A. Ashton Jeanty's been stopped behind the line of scrimmage more this season than for positive yardage.
I love the point you're making there, too, about the opportunity to play from ahead, because when you're a team, and we've seen the Bears over the years here where at times if the pass rush hasn't really been getting home, it's one of those things I've tried to remind folks about. It's easier to rush the quarterback when your offense is moving the ball, controlling the action, putting points on the board. Oh, by the way, the pass rush came to life last week when the Bears offense was able to give them an advantage on the scoreboard, and then you can dictate terms to your opponent. You can play downhill at the opposing offense as defenders when you know there's more of an opportunity that they have to become one-dimensional. We saw that last week against the Cowboys, an opportunity for the Bears to try and do that again here. But for Ashton Jeanty, he is a really talented college football player. We saw the reports about the Bears having an interest in him in the draft process, but he so far hasn't been a guy who's been able to be extremely creative in his own right to really try and create space for himself. So that offensive line for the Raiders, and they've had some parts moving around. There's been a lot of conjecture about guys being played out of position. They just haven't moved the line of scrimmage in their favor yet. But there is weaponry that they have access to. We know how talented Brock Bowers is as a tight end with a lot of the numbers he put up as a rookie last season.
Yeah, you're looking at Ashton Jeanty, who's averaging, 48 rush yards per game. Right. And then Dennis Allen talks about him. He loves contact. And if he gets to the second or third level, I loved his quote. He said, "You better bring your hard hat because there's going to be a collision." I want to stick with the pass rush and what the Bears can do with the opportunity against a Raiders offensive line that's given up 12 sacks. It's second most in the league. Is this a chance for Montez Sweat? We saw him hit home last week. Do you move him around in this scenario and make it a little bit more difficult, or because of the offensive line he's going against, do you like him staying on the left edge?
So they've flopped Montez Sweat and Dayo Odeyingbo a little bit, just on the edge a couple of different times. And we're deep enough into Montez Sweat's career where I think it's safe to say as a left defensive end is where he rushes the passer best. But one of the things I loved, and I kind of joked about it a bit last week, even ran offset at one point, but he wasn't running into contact as frequently last week as a pass rusher against the Cowboys. We saw him getting up the field. We saw some stutter moves to be able to kind of get the offensive tackle on skates a few different times as he was getting some hits and additional pressure on the pocket. As a right defensive end, he had a couple of nice inside club moves as well to be able to try and win clean into the pocket. And yes, he utilized that power to be able to go speed to power, and then that was when he got his official sack during the game against the Cowboys. But I just love the movement we saw from Montez Sweat, really rushing both edges last week. And as long as Dayo Odeyingbo is comfortable rushing off either side, and I think he is, then that is something they should continue to do, that Montez Sweat doesn't only have to sort of primarily be that left end. You flip some guys around and create matchups in certain situations, it can really work well.
Cassie, they need to get to the quarterback. Yeah. They do. They really need to get to Geno Smith. I get it, 34 years old, so he's more established in the league. He has seen a lot. but 5 quarterback sacks for the Bears. That's bottom third of the NFL. Just 1 each for Montez Sweat and Dio as well. So they need to put more pressure on. I liked what I saw from Sweat last week. You and I have been talking about, we actually like what we've seen from Sweat so far through 3 games, including training camp. He finally busted through last week. Pick up some momentum and get to the guy 2 or 3 times this week.
Worth noting, Grady Jarrett out for this game with the knee injury he's been dealing with for a handful of weeks. So that's going to be something to look out for when you're looking at the interior of the defensive line. And it's all about rush and coverage working together. That's what Dennis Allen wanted to hit home again this week. And he talked about Tyreek Stevenson had a really good game. He ripped that football away. He said they're trying to see if he can consistently show up, not only on game days on Sundays, but in practice too. And he said for Stevenson, a lot of it is more mental for him. So they're really looking for him to apply that throughout games. He said the talent's there. Just prove to us that you can do it consistently. All right, time for our player to watch, brought to you by IGS Energy. All eyes on Theo Benedict as he gets ready to make his first NFL start at right tackle because Darnell Wright is not playing in this game. And welcome to the NFL, Benedict. You get to go up against Max Crosby, one of those game records. It's going to be a fun one in Vegas. I got to get on this flight with all the Bears fans. Sorry, guys.
Have fun.
Sorry. We'll see you Sunday morning for Bears Game Day Live.